Okay, so hello and welcome to a tutorial on how to use this site here for Squad V6 since the update, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about how the new aiming system works very roughly here, okay? Whether you like it or disagree with it is irrelevant, but this is how it works. Whenever you are moving, you are going to see, I'll put an arrow down there, you're going to see these two white boxes. These basically means your stabilization, or how stable you are at your current position and how long, and basically if you're moving or sprinting or whatever, okay? The wider it is, the less stable you are. So whenever you're going to take a shot, you need to stop, you need to have your stamina, you need to crouch, okay? Now, you're going to see the bars are slowly closing in, okay? And then whenever they stop is basically how aimed you are. And at this point, this is about how aimed we are. So, now actually pulling out the sight, you'll see the boxes go in even more. And then this is about as good a stabilization as we're going to get besides lying down, okay? But usually you're going to use a crouch shot if you're taking out really anything. So, how does this sight work? Well, let's talk about it. So, if you're going to be using heat or high explosive anti-tank, which is what all the light riflemen have on their kit, at least one round, and this is what we're demonstrating here, or if you're using fragmentation, you are going to be using this specific sight here, okay? I'm going to put an arrow. This little plus sign with that arrow, that is your 50-meter sight. The one below that is a 100-meter sight, okay? Now you're going to see a number 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay? You're going to be aiming in the dead center of those numbers, okay? If you're going to make a 300-meter shot. I'll now show you how to do that. So, if we want to make a 300-meter shot, we're going to line up the 300, that where the 3 is, line it up, and you're just going to see it's going to make basically a little X there. You're going to aim your shot, and then you're going to fire. You're going to hit your target, okay? So to show you that it's not a fluke, and I know when I'm talking out my ass, we're going to try a 400-meter shot, and we'll probably, hopefully not miss, not talk out my ass. So, again, we are going to be using this, I'll just call it the block sight here. We're going to aim it at 400 meters, okay? So the 4 lines up in that center area on the box. We're going to aim a little high and fire. And you can see I went a little high and I was over slightly of the BTR because it's destroyed. If it was a regular one, it would have hit. Okay. The last thing I'm going to teach you here is this rangefinder, okay? Now, this little rangefinder here on your right side is a 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, okay? Those are specifically used on a NATO vehicle. So if you're fighting a Russian faction as insurgents, it's not as reliable of a sight. Again, this is actual military use of the site, not squad use, but you get the point. Whenever you're using it, it gives you a rough estimate. As long as you line up the bottom line and then the top line, it should theoretically give you the distance to a target, a rough estimate. So you can see that this one is roughly 200 meters based upon where the turret is on that top 2 and the bottom line. Okay, if you move it out to like 400 meters, you can see it semi-works, but the vehicle is destroyed and flat and not a NATO vehicle. So it's just a rough estimate on your site. Again, if you can get a range from your squad leader as he puts a target marker on the vehicle you need to blow up, that would be better than using the old school little rangefinder you have here, okay? So, with that out of the way, I'm going to show you that fragmentation works on the site as well. So, actually, I have frag. So, if we're going to use a fragmentation round, it's the exact same site that we have been using, just like the heat one. Okay, this time we're going to shoot at 200 meters. So, we're going to line the first 200 to 2 in the box, and we're going to fire. And we're going to hit the target first time, every time. Now, I'm going to show you how to use the 100-meter sight on this, and then we will switch over to Tandem. Okay, aiming at 100 meters, we're going to line up on the second little X here and fire. And we got a direct hit. So you can be pretty fast with this as long as you're stabilized. Okay, now I'm going to show you the HAT, or heat, or high explosive anti-tank version of this. So we need to load the Tandem. We're going to load the goddamn Tandem if I can get my words right. All right, the Tandem sight. I'm going to aim up to the sky. The Tandem sight is as follows. This first arrow, basically where the 200-meter mark is, that is your actual 50-meter to 100-meter sight, okay? So if it's 50 meters away, you aim the Tandem rocket there, because there is a significant drop on Tandem, okay? Where the 1 is, where my arrow is going to be pointing, that is where you aim the 100-meter sight on the Tandem. The 1 comma 5, that's where you aim the 150 meter sight, okay? And the 200, that is where you aim, or the 2 is where you aim at 200 meters for the tandem, okay? Now this sight's a little quirky, and I'll explain why. So, if we try to hit a target at 100 meters, theoretically we should be aiming here, okay? But that's not true. We need to aim roughly here, which is about halfway down. Why? It's because this sight has a massive drop. So firing at here, you can see that we will hit, okay? Now, that's a quirk of the sight. You're just going to need to get used to it. Maybe they'll fix it, but probably not. If you actually aim at the 100 meter sight where you're supposed to aim on a tandem rocket and try to fire at this BTR, you will see that this thing explodes, okay? Massive explosion. You didn't actually hit. You hit right in front of the vehicle, which means it did no damage. So that's why you're going to have to aim slightly higher on the tandem rocket. So instead of right here on a tandem rocket, whoops, sorry, let me get stabilized, because again, we have to take our time. If you aim here on a tandem rocket, you'll miss. If you aim here, you'll hit, okay? So now we're going to try at a 150 meter sight with the tandem, hit, and then hopefully I'll hit, and then we can be done here. So, aiming at the 150 meter target, we would normally aim here, but we need to aim slightly above, around halfway, and fire. And you can see that we hit, okay? So, hopefully this helps you guys with the sight of this RPG. Otherwise, you people have a nice day, and I'll see you in squad.